Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today as we introduce the 13th head men's basketball coach in program history. For our media members that are here today, once the introduction is made, we'll do a short Q&A session right here with you guys, then we'll break off. We'll do some one-on-ones on the other side of the curtain there. Justin Moss and Jaron Skeet will be our players today that will represent the players, as well as Athletic Director Danny White will be available at that time as well. With that said, I would like to introduce the president of the University of Buffalo. He's going to say a few words, Dr. Satish Tripathi.
Good afternoon, everyone. As always, it is great to have everyone here at UB for today's announcement. We are delighted to congratulate our new men's basketball coach, Nate Oats. Nate has been truly instrumental in building this program and its great success over the past 2 seasons. We have all experienced the incredible energy the men's basketball team has brought to UB and across our larger UB Bulls community. Nate has been a big part of that, and with him at the helm, our Bulls are perfectly positioned to keep the momentum building. Nate is a consummate professional, an inspiring coach, and a great competitor. Simply put, he is a UB Bull through and through. My hearty congratulations again to Coach Oats and Athletic Director Danny White. We are all very excited here at UB, and we can't wait for the next basketball season to get started. Go Bulls!
Thank you, Dr. Tripathi. This time, I'd like to make the introduction of our next head coach, I'd like to introduce our Athletic Director, Danny White.
Thank you, John. Thank you all for being here this afternoon on short notice. It's an exciting day, one that typically at moments like this I think about the opportunity we have here, and we talk a lot in staff meetings and with our teams to build what we call America's next big-time college athletics brand, to bring big-time college athletics here to Western New York. And we've been given that opportunity by our tremendous leader, Dr. Tripathi. Very thankful to Satish for the opportunity he's given me here to lead this athletics department. As I've said before, we have a very unique charge. Because of the strength of this institution, the sky is the limit for where we can take this athletics department. I know the coaches and student athletes that are here today know that and live that and breathe that every day. So thank you all for everything that you do. We are extremely student athlete centered here. We believe in the student first. We're proud of coming off of 6 straight semesters of GPA for our student athletes above 3.0. Very proud of that. And I couldn't be more proud of the student athletes on our men's basketball team and the accomplishments they had this season, winning our first ever Mid-American Conference tournament and participating in our first ever NCAA tournament. Just tremendous accomplishments and led us to new heights and something that we're focused on building on. The Mid-American Conference is a very competitive league. It's one with great programs that have done some special things through the years, and we're hopeful that this is the first step towards us rising to the top of the conference and showing that we can have sustainable, competitive teams and ones that consistently knock on the door for more Mid-American Conference championships. I want to talk a little bit about the process, and then you'll hear from someone that you're all more interested in hearing speak is our new basketball coach. But the first thing we do in all of our searches is we ask for involvement and feedback from the student athletes themselves. And just like we've done in the past, my first meeting with our team, as they can attest, I asked for them to vote amongst themselves and give me a smaller group, as more functional with a smaller group of athletes, to give me their perspective. Obviously, a lot has gone right in our men's basketball program, but where can we look to improve? I think anytime there's change, there's opportunities for improvement. And so we had a rather lengthy meeting with the student athletes themselves, and that combined with hours of conversations I had with people across the country, We had a tremendous amount of interest in this job, as you can imagine. There's a lot of people that want to work with these athletes. Big names in basketball, people from big programs, all sorts of ideas on people that wanted to come be a part of our athletic department and our university. At that same time, I was having hours of conversations with Coach Oats. And what I learned about Coach Oats from him and from others as I called around the country and relied upon my resources in athletics and certainly in college basketball, I learned how much respect people have for the way he runs a program and who he is as a coach. And most importantly, I learned from our student athletes how much respect they have for the role he's played in the last 2 years in building our basketball program and the desire they had to keep the continuity, keep our same system in place, and stay together to defend our Mid-American Conference Championship next year. It made the choice pretty obvious for me. A few things about Coach Oats. He has an impressive resume before he arrived here. You're all very familiar with the last couple of years and the unprecedented amount of success we've had in men's basketball, and he's been obviously our top assistant and recruiting coordinator as part of that. But the previous 11 years, he was a head coach at Romulus High School in Michigan and was truly one of the finest prep coaches in all of the country. Had a career record of 222 and 52, was named State Coach of the Year, won a first ever state championship, or in 27 years, first state championship. Had 3 straight conference championships and was ranked in the top 25 as a program on 3 different occasions. Most importantly, he oversaw a program that had a 100% graduation rate at Romulus High School, very much in keeping with our student-athlete-centered approach. We're very appreciative of the community support that has occurred with the recent success in men's basketball, women's basketball as well. I see Coach Jack here. We want to continue to build on that, but thank you so much to all of our fans and the community, alumni, the student body. It was an awesome environment in this arena last year, and we want to build on that and make it even better next year. With that, it is my honor to introduce your new head coach, the 13th head coach of UB men's basketball, Nate Oats.
First off, I'd like to thank President Tripathi, Athletic Director Danny White, all the administration here for the opportunity they've given me to lead this program here at UB. They've been unbelievably great to me for the last 2 years, and through this last few days, through the whole process, I've gained even greater admiration for the job that they do and what they've done. Also like to thank Bobby Hurley for giving me the opportunity to come here 2 years ago, for Levi Watkins and Ben Wood for the camaraderie we've had on staff that enabled us to do what we were able to do here for the last 2 years, and just for them helping in the whole transition in this process. I'd like to thank, obviously, the players. Without the players, nobody would be standing here right now. They enabled us through all their hard work, how hard they played, what they've been able to do for the last 2 years, and just their loyalty to the staff and to me in particular for what they've been able to do over the course of the last 2 years. I'd also like to thank, lastly, my family. Got my wife, Crystal, who I've been married for 17 years. We actually got married during the middle of my first season coaching after I was done playing, and somehow, miraculously, she's put up with me for 17 years and helped me. I mean, it's kind of been a lifelong dream of mine to get here, and she's been with me the whole way. So it's kind of a lifelong dream of hers, too, I guess, through me. And see, I got 3 beautiful girls. I got to thank them because they've had absentee daddy for at least the last 3 days. I've been on the phone, I think, 20 out of 24 hours. It's been pretty close. So I got to thank them for all the recruiting trips, road trips. I haven't been able to be there. They've been great. They want to actually thank Danny White for hiring Daddy because they don't have to move. They've kind of come to love this whole community. It's kind of where we've come from. So they're excited, probably more excited than Daddy. My whole family, they've kind of embraced the community. They love it. I'm a Midwest guy. This is kind of family values here, and everybody in the community we've gotten to know for the last 2 years has been unbelievably great. Speaking about Midwest values, it's good. I actually coached at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater before Romulus, so I'd like to thank Lance Leupold for making it out. We go back to Wisconsin. We got some Wisconsin roots together, but definitely thanks to my family for letting me do this. Talk a little bit about basketball. There's not going to be a whole lot of change, to be honest with you. I don't think there's a reason to fix what's not broke. I mean, it's worked. We've been super successful over the last 2 years. We made the first ever NCAA tournament last year. Our kids play hard on the defensive end. I think you're going to see the same effort. We're going to demand kids go hard in practice and workouts all off season. They're going to play as hard as they played in the games. We want to put a product on the floor that the city of Buffalo and this community is proud of. Offensively, we want to put a product on the floor that's exciting to watch. We're going to play up-tempo. We're going to get the ball, move it up the floor. You're going to see a lot of the same plays that you saw in SportsCenter over the last few years through this thing. The electricity in the building that we had for that Bowling Green game in the last, we had over 6,600 fans in here. This was a big-time environment. We'd like to see that for all the games next year. It was big time. It brought, chills to your spine just with all the energy that was in this building. That's what we want to envision for the future of this program. Obviously, as everyone knows, we've got almost the entire team coming back. Only had 2 seniors last year to a team that made the NCAA tournament. We plan on repeating what we did last year and then taking it to a next step. We're not just planning to make the NCAA tournament. We think we can get a couple wins in the NCAA tournament and just see what happens from there. So I think the future's bright. Obviously Coach Hurley laid it for us, and I'm anticipating taking it to another level. That's my goal for this program.
We'll take some questions now for Coach Oats from the media. Louis Spina here has a microphone. He'll bring it around, and he'll be happy to answer any questions you have. When you ask your question, you can please just introduce yourself and the media outlet that you are with. We'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, Nate. Hey, Mark Gahn, Buffalo News. Congratulations. Just first off, what do you see as your challenge being a first-time college head coach?
It's a good question, Mark. You know what? There's a learning curve to every new job, I think. One of the learning curves I'm not going to have is being a head coach. 11 out of my last 13 years as a coach. It's been a head coach. It's going to be a little bit different, obviously, at the college level than it was at the prep level. But I think some of the challenges are going to be moving from assistant to head coach with this current group. That's obviously a challenge. There's a different role you've got as an assistant. You're going to have to be a little bit more disciplinary and less they're still going to be my guys. I'm going to be tight with them like I am now, but it's going to be just a little bit different. I'm going to be the one having to put the hammer down on certain things. So that's going to be the biggest challenge, in my opinion, just because I've been a head coach for that. I'm just going to have to revert back to the way I was 2 years ago before I got here is what I'm going to have to do.
I think Stu has a question here. There you go.
Stu Boyer, Channel 2 Buffalo. Congratulations, Coach. Do you anticipate all your players staying with the program?
Stu, that's a good question. Pretty common question with a coaching change and everything. Kind of anticipated that. Obviously, as Danny White spoke, he kind of got the group together. They wanted me here as a coach. They spoke volumes about it. Going forward, and I've spent a lot of time talking to Danny and then talking to assistants and everything, we're going to get some time to sit down individually with each player, kind of go through what their role is. I anticipate that they would see their role like I'm going to see it, and I anticipate everybody being back here. But we're going to have individual meetings with the players moving forward in the next week or so, and we'll get a better idea on that. But I would anticipate most of them being back here.
Have you lost any recruits?
You know what, as of right now, we had 2 kids sign in the fall period. And, you know, I've spoken to both of them. They both indicated to me that if I got the head job, that they would be continuing to come here. So that's what we, you know, with the two kids that signed with us, that's what they've indicated to me, them and their families over the last week or so.
Nate, Andy Young with Time Warner Cable News in Buffalo. Congratulations. How tough is it to duplicate the feat when a program hadn't been to the tournament before and had that level of success to duplicate that?
It's a good question, Andy. I think it would be really hard if they were all seniors and had graduated. That's not the case here. And we had a lot of underclassmen that are going to be back, and they've experienced it. So the fact that they've been there, done that, want to do it again, we felt like we should have won that first game in the first round tournament. I mean, they're hungry and want to get back and actually get a win in the tournament. So, I mean, it's going to be hard. It's extremely hard to get there. They've never been there in the history of the program before, so we're going to have to work even harder to get back again. But, I mean, they're hungry and they've been there and they've experienced it, and they want to get back in a bad way.
Hey, Coach, congratulations. Scott from Channel 4 in Buffalo. How much pressure is on you to be successful with this group that you have? I mean, there's a lot of pressure on you. This group is good.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question again, Scott. We're expected to be. I mean, everybody's picking Buffalo. You know, if you look at early, I mean, they do that stuff way too early. The day after the national championship, people are predicting the field is 64 next year and all that, and they've got Buffalo in it. So that's the expectation level. Obviously, I know there's going to be some pressure on it with everybody returning. And you know what? I think that's a good pressure. I would rather have that pressure than the other way, where I'm trying to build it from the bottom. I would rather be at the top and have to maintain it and be like that. So I feel a little pressure, but I like a little pressure on me.
Coach Nick from Channel 7 in Buffalo, congratulations on the job. In terms of the next step for you and this program, in terms of piecing your staff together, hitting the recruiting trail, where are you in terms of bringing the rest of your staff in and bringing, signing more recruits?
Thanks, Nick. We've already had one potential assistant in. Actually, we've had two in since I've been hired, so we're moving fast. I mean, Danny White's as good an athletic director as there in the country. Me and him together kind of came up with a profile of what we want to see in an assistant, and I think we're going to put together a dynamite staff. You know, the two guys I've had in here, you know, we're still seeing what that's going to look like, but I think once we announce the staff here in the next week, 2 weeks, whatever it takes, we're moving as quickly as we can. I think everybody's going to be shocked at how good the staff's going to be here. As far as the recruits, you know, we obviously didn't need a whole lot. You know, there's going to be a few we add in. We're working on that now. I didn't go out this past weekend. They've got 2 live weekends in the spring. I wanted to make sure I stayed here with our guys more than go out. So, you know, I've got plenty of buddies that have been out there I've talked to. We've got names. I've talked to a recruit and his mother last night even, a few of them. We're on it. We'll have our staff together in place for the second recruiting period in 2 weeks, and then we'll be out and we'll get some stuff done then.
Coach Jordan Grossman, UB Spectrum, congratulations. In terms of the transition to head coach, do you believe that it's going to be easier with the already existing team chemistry that you have?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
In terms of the transition to being a head coach, do you believe it'll be easier with the chemistry that was already built with the team that you had as the assistant?
Yeah, I do, because I've got a comfort level with the guys, and I know what their strengths and weaknesses are. It's not like I've got to come in here with a brand new, you know, like Coach Hurley had to do 2 years ago. He had to figure out, you know, what Javon McCray liked to do, what Will Regan. I don't have to figure that out. I know what they like to do. I know where to put them in the right spots on the floor. I know how to interact with them. It's going to be a little easier that way. You know, it's going to be a different role for me. But, yeah, it's going to be a lot easier than just coming into a brand new program, having to figure everybody out.
Hi, Coach. Sloan Martin, WGR. You talked about, you know, making that jump to being a Division I head coach and playing that different role. What is it going to be like kind of on a personal level to treat them differently? How much of a kind of different demeanor are you going to be taking on as opposed to when you were an assistant?
You talking about on my personal level oh, with the players you mean? Okay. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm super cool with the guys as evidenced by what they had my back through this whole process. It's just, there's a, the head coach kind of has to crack down a little bit more. The assistants have to support him. Now I'm going to be the guy that has to be a little bit more the bad guy once in a while. I've got to get some good assistants to support me in it, which we're going to do. It's just, there's a little bit more authority figure as a head coach. I had great assistants in high school, which you got to have great assistants in order to win and build a high-level program. So we're going to get great assistants in here, but the head coach is the one coming down. It's coming down from the top. So now it's a little bit different. The assistant sits in the meeting with the academic person, whoever, and there's an issue, or the head coach sits in the meeting. There's just a different level. There's a little bit different respect level with the position that it comes with. Good. How you doing? Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it. Thanks. I appreciate that.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you have any role models that you look up to in terms of your being a head coach?
You know what? That's a good question, because I've been a basketball junkie since elementary school, and I knew I wanted to coach probably since junior high. So I've watched a lot. There's not one particular guy that I would say I've tried to emulate, but I will say I like the guys that coach a little harder. I mean, I'm from Wisconsin. Bo Ryan's been ultra successful. I was in that league at Wisconsin Whitewater. He was in the league at Platteville. I don't want to play as slow as he does. I'm used to coaching athletes, being from Motown. We had some athletes that got up and down a little bit, but I like the toughness they bring. I was in Michigan. Tom Izzo is one of the best coaches in the entire country. I lived at their practices before our practices started. He coaches at a highly intense level, and his guys guard and get up the floor quickly. Those would be two of the guys that come to mind. And then I've got some NBA buddies. One of my best friends in the business is assistant with the Spurs, and Popovich, just the way he runs the whole program with holding everybody accountable, from the best player, him and Tim Duncan. You see him get on Tim Duncan. You got to hold the best players accountable just like you hold everybody else accountable. So I wouldn't say there's one guy, but that would be the type that I would try to emulate. It's a good question, Steve. I liked it.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, Coach. For the media members here, we'll do some one-on-one availability on the other side of the curtain. Thank you very much for coming out, and go Bulls.